Hello and welcome to ExultX Audio Articles podcast. In this episode, we will explore a crucial element of tactical training, rucking. We will dive into its relevance, demands, and the physical preparation needed to excel at this foundational task. In the ever-evolving world of tactical operations, technological advancements have undoubtedly enhanced the efficiency and safety of those in the field. Yet paradoxically, these innovations haven't necessarily lightened the load for operators. In fact, they often carry heavier and more complex equipment, essential for mission success and personal protection. Meanwhile, the introduction of motorized transport has alleviated some of the strain of long-distance travel. However, the need to travel short to medium distances on foot remains ever present, often under intense conditions. Whether it's navigating obstacles or evacuating injured personnel, operators must bear the full weight of their gear. Research has shown that even basic equipment, such as body armor or tactical boots, can negatively impact an operator's body mechanics and postural stability. This is where rucking, also known as loaded marching, comes in. Loaded marching is still foundational in many tactical settings. Beyond its logistical necessity, it simulates real-world scenarios requiring endurance, resilience, and adaptability. It's not just about carrying a heavy load. There are numerous factors at play: the weight of the load, speed, terrain, the way the load is distributed, and the physical condition of the operator. All are important factors to take into consideration. In the past, rucking training was primarily focused on endurance. However, recent understanding highlights that the ability to carry loads doesn't correlate directly with running performance. Lighter, more agile bodies may excel in unloaded running, but they struggle under the weight of heavy gear. Therefore, strength and endurance are now seen as the dual pillars of rucking success. Training should target core strength, upper body stability, and lower body strength, especially in movements like knee flexion, trunk flexion, and plantar flexion. Aerobic fitness, naturally, also plays a pivotal role. But, apparently, strength is mandatory, and it isn't just for moving the weight. It's vital for stabilizing it, reducing fatigue, and maintaining proper posture while walking. Despite proper training, rucking presents considerable challenges, both biomechanical and physiological. Biomechanically, the load and fatigue force changes in how we walk. Joint strain becomes more pronounced, particularly in the lower extremities. Marching efficiency starts to decrease sharply when loads exceed 15% of body weight, indicating that even moderate relative loads can significantly affect biomechanical performance. It's here we start to see altered gait mechanics, shorter strides, longer stance times, and more variability in stride width as fatigue sets in. This decline in efficiency can increase the risk of injuries, particularly ankle sprains and dislocations. From a physiological standpoint, rucking places immense strain on the cardiovascular system. The heart works harder, pumping more blood to support the heightened metabolic demands, while muscle activation increases, particularly in the back and shoulders. With these demands, the risk of overuse injuries rises. Musculoskeletal strain, lower back pain, knee and hip discomfort, and ankle issues are common in operators who engage in excessive rucking. Soft tissue injuries, such as blisters and abrasions, are frequent but typically less severe. However, if preparation and recovery aren't prioritized, long-term issues like chronic overuse syndromes can arise. But it's not just about the body. Equipment plays a huge role in the effectiveness of rucking. Tactical boots, for example, are essential. While their efficiency in preventing acute injuries is highly debated, their impact on gait biomechanics is undeniable. Tactical boots tend to reduce ankle mobility and change stride mechanics, especially high-top tactical boots. Therefore, using incorrect tactical boots can increase the risk of overuse injuries, such as stress fractures or shin splints. due to the repeated loading of the same biological structures over time. Similarly, when packing rucksacks, the load distribution is critical. Heavy loads, especially when combined with body armor, shift an operator's center of gravity, increasing the risk of injury. Adjusting straps and using modular systems to distribute the weight properly can make a significant difference. And, when packing, it is important to place heavier items higher for flat terrain, but distribute them evenly for hilly terrain to enhance stability. Another key factor is environmental conditioning. During rucking, especially under hot conditions, the body's thermoregulation system is put to the test. Heavy gear, combined with high-intensity effort, leads to increased body temperature. In hot environments, poor ventilation and clothing that impede sweat evaporation can lead to heat stress or even heat-related illnesses. The risk heightens in group-paced rucking, where individuals push harder due to group dynamics. While pushing physical limits can foster mental resilience and focus, it also brings the risk of overexertion and injury. To mitigate these risks, tactical sessions must assess environmental conditions, adapt gear, ensure hydration, and monitor physical loads. For example, always account for conditions such as the wet bulb globe temperature, or WBGT, or the wind chill index, or WI, when planning the session. These indices provide critical insight into the risks posed by heat or cold. In hot environments, wear loose-fitting breathable clothing to allow for better air circulation and heat dissipation. Avoid using body armor during sessions with high WBGT to enhance ventilation and reduce heat retention. Hydration is crucial for maintaining thermoregulation. The utilization of hydration systems like camelbacks is practical and encourages consistent water intake. Dehydration not only exacerbates increases in core temperature, but also significantly diminishes physical and cognitive performance. For sessions longer than 30 minutes, consider adding electrolytes or mineral salts to the water to improve fluid retention and replace essential salts lost through sweat. So, how I can improve my rucking performance? Training for rucking should focus on more than just rucking. Combining resistance and endurance training leads to better load carriage performance. A mixed regimen of strength training for joint stability and endurance training for stamina is essential. For strength, prioritize exercises that build overall body stability, proprioception, and strength. Multi-joint, compound movements like squats, lunges, and deadlifts form the foundation of a solid rucking program. For the upper body, focus on exercises that develop strength in the shoulders and posterior chain, as this is essential for carrying heavy loads. Incorporating functional movements like carrying exercises can enhance postural stability, simulating the demands of a heavy rucksack. Strengthening the glutes, in particular, is vital, as these muscles maintain pelvic stability and help avoid compensations in the lower back and knees. Exercises like the glute bridge, Romanian deadlifts, and farmer's carries are key. Despite these considerations, it is critical to maintain a balanced ratio between pull and push movements, as well as between the anterior and posterior chains. Such balance is essential to prevent overdeveloping one area at the expense of another, which could elevate the risk of injury. A practical way to maintain this balance is through supersets, pairing each exercise with its antagonist counterpart. And how I can integrate my rucking session in this program. Research indicates that rucking once per week and twice or more per month is a more effective approach than bi-weekly sessions. When integrated into a program that also includes resistance and endurance training, it forms an effective strategy for achieving improvements within 8 to 12 weeks. Traditionally, training sessions of loaded marching primarily consisted of long and extensive walks. However, two main methodologies for load marching have emerged: long distances with moderate loads and short distances with heavy loads. Both approaches yield improvements when well programmed and executed, but it appears that high-intensity programs are more effective than longer distances. Having said that, let's delve a little bit into the guidelines for rucking sessions. When we're talking about long distances with moderate loads, we should maintain the load between 30 and 40% of your body weight. Session durations should exceed 7 kilometers or 60 minutes. In terms of intensity, aim to work within heart rate zones 2 to 3, corresponding to 60 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. The ideal frequency for this type of training is at least once a week and at least twice a month. A gradual increase in distance or duration of about 10% per week is recommended to ensure progressive adaptation and reduce the risk of injury. For short distances with heavy loads, the guidelines are a little bit different. We should maintain the load between 45 and 70% of body weight. Sessions are shorter, ranging from 2 to 5 kilometers or less than 60 minutes. The intensity is significantly higher, falling within heart rate zones 4 to 5, corresponding to 75 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. The ideal frequency for this type of training remains at least once a week and at least twice a month. An essential recommendation for both methods is to consider the level of experience and fitness. In cases of lower fitness levels and limited experience with rucking, it's advisable to start with lighter backpack loads than those presented in these guidelines. Finally, keep in mind the speed at which rucking occurs. As load and speed increase, walking becomes less efficient, and running may become the preferred method of movement. Operators must adapt to the load they're carrying and adjust their pace accordingly. Typically, the rucking session's velocity is between 4 to 6 kilometers per hour. Theoretically, the optimal pace for a load-bearing march tends to hover around 5 kilometers per hour. However, depending on terrain, load, and individual fitness, the ideal pace can vary. Too fast a pace can increase injury risk, while too slow may fail to simulate real operational demands. To finish, we like to say that despite technological advancements, rucking remains a critical task for tactical personnel. It's not just about the physical burden, it's about maintaining operational readiness, adapting to challenges, and being prepared for any situation that may arise. Thanks for tuning in, and if you found this episode interesting, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more in-depth explorations into the world of tactical professions. You can also read this information in full in our written article on our website, ExultX.com, along with other content. That's all for today. Thanks for listening and see you next time. Until then, stay fit, stay strong, and stay ready.